So I know exactly for what I want to do next. Once we
Okay.
finish all this and we get some downtime, my character is going to look for a wizard to start crafting items for the party instead of buying items.
Well, I'll let you know just on the power curve for this particular adventure. Um, it was originally written for basic D&D for characters of 18 to 22 level in that scale. But I think it
Yeah.
works it down to, so we're still way above the actual party the party levels here. But just because the items that you guys have, magic wise, and
That's
figure it's
fine.
appropriate.
Yeah, that's fine. Balance it out how you see fit. Like, I will honestly tell you, if you would have made those rust monsters like CR32s, I would have been okay with it. Only because of the way we had ourselves positioned
Right.
was semi-safe, and that was it. And
Oh
rust
yeah,
monsters
the
are
bottleneck.
really, really fun when you throw coins out and let them eat it, and then you bomb them with. Yeah, that's amazing. Like I had never thought about that tactic before ever.
Until just now, yeah.
Yeah, literally, I was sitting here. I'm like, why don't we just throw metal to them and let them devour it, and then just bomb them?
Yeah.
Works
I
a
was
lot
like,
better.
yeah, I was like, what kind of metal do I have? I'm a druid. And I'm like, oh, I have coins.
Money.
Well, I think everybody has an eating knife.
Sure, I might have an eating knife, but I'd rather use copper.
So the
The
power
power.
curve for this to D&D to AD&D or second ed would be anywhere from 14th to 16th level.
Ooh, I found a cool token for Janwall.
Well, still don't quite understand the kid's role in all this. He brought us here, and yet the seer so far has done nothing but try to kill us.
No, the seer has not tried to kill us. You're misinterpreting this. Something tells me that the den of the seer, who's probably the protector of the area, has been overrun by evil and been corrupted and has no way to defend the lair and is able to defend herself, but not able to banish. So she's hoping, as a seer, does that some people will come and rescue her or him, whatever it is, and go from there.
The
That's just
seer
my
is a he.
guess. It's a he, okay. So he's like, well, shoot, I can't do it, so let me get these adventurers to come in and do it because there's going to be repercussions that's going to ripple, and then that's going to send someone to investigate. So the seer is doesn't have to do it all themselves, and it doesn't mean that the seer is attacking us.
Well, the mage was scared shitless of the seer.
Yeah.
We another comment about the seer from the Medusa.
No one likes messing with the seer because they're obviously strong, but no one wants us to get to the seer either. Like we came here and we're like, "Hey, we want to see the seer," and they're like, "No, we're not going to let you." And then it's like, "Okay, cool. If they're scared of the seer and they know that the seer is evil, then why wouldn't they let us go and beat the seer?" But evil monsters are keeping us away from the seer. I don't think it's the seer is employing the evil monsters.
We shall
I
see.
just pointed out, don't trust a kid too far.
Well, not many beings have the ability to control Medusas, gargantuan gargoyles, and things like that.
Cassius, I guess he's pinging. It may be at work pinging me, but he's like, "Yeah, the cloak of displacement."
Not anymore.
Yeah, this cloak of displacement really makes it so I should probably change my token.
Zanwar, what's your AC now?
Now with the buckler,
Yeah,
-4.
-4. So if I pop a item on you, it'll pop you to -9. I might give you my item and see how that works.
No, you need it. You need to cover my ass.
It would just take me to -3 and it'd put you to -9. That's all.
case there's more rust monsters, you need to cover.
Yeah, if there's more rust monsters, you need to go and protect me.
It's very weird being the healer. Or the only thing I'm good at is healing and standing in front of everybody because of the AC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's useful.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just used to seeing the cleric sit in the back.
Oh, wait a minute. Kevin in the other campaign is up front with the party sometimes,
Yeah, yeah.
as is Velnir.
Well, Valnir has a cloak of displacement that he puts entirely too much trust in, and the fact that he's a small creature gives him a -8 AC base or something silly like that. So
For
-4, okay.
against man sized or larger.
Yeah. And
And
I think
Rainy is a wizard, right?
wizard cleric.
Wizard cleric. Okay.
Okay, so I'm being beckoned by my DDO group.
All right.
I'm gonna work on this on Monday. Get the next level dungeon stacked out, um, and stocked out, and ready to go for next Friday.
All
Nice.
righty.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
Thanks for
you're welcome.
DMing.
Yep, yep. Thank you much.
Wow.
Jer,
All right. Yeah.
one of the items that I was thinking about having the mage make for you, actually I have an idea for two. One is a girdle of giant strength, and I was gonna have him make a uh composite longbow strength to match the giant strength girdle, sorry.
Give the girdle of giant strength to Janwal.
Zanwar
Well,
has an
even
18, yeah, Zanwar has an 1899 right now. Like I think the strength would go better on you to match a composite longbow with strength added in. And then because Zanwar's doing like massive damage now. And if we can get you in combat earlier on in the rounds instead of I mean stealth is great and your backstab is amazing, but if your bow is doing like 30 damage every attack and you get 3 attacks, that's like 90 damage. So
Well,
I'm looking at ways to
yeah.
improve everybody's output
Yeah. Yeah.
because me as Trisha,
Right.
I am not damaged. My character does not do damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
Because
Because I
like
can
I'm
do.
also looking at ways to improve Zanwar's as well. And if I can get 2 girdles and a bow, that'll work too. Because
Yeah.
bumping you and Zanwar up to let's say 23 strength each would be pretty cool.
It'd be
Right.
deadly.
Oh yeah.
And then if
Um.
you have a bow, and if you have a bow to match it, then now you get 3 attacks, right?
Yes. Technically, I do. Yeah. With the bow.
So if you get 3 attacks and you can add your strength and you're doing 30 points of damage, and Zanwar is doing 30 points of damage, and he's getting 3 attacks too. Now together, unless you roll ones, obviously, together you guys are doing something stupid like 180 points of damage in one round. And
Yeah.
you're getting attacks on the first round,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. That would be very good for regular fights where we're fighting mooks. Yes, I definitely agree.
Even if we're not fighting mooks, I think that that's pretty amazing. Like if we're fighting, let's say we're going up against 10 frost giants or 10 fire giants.
Uh huh.
I'm okay with that because I'm gonna go around and do Buffy buff things and
Well,
heal because
yeah. There's that, but also remember, when I'm backstabbing large creatures with my greatsword, with strength like that, I'm going to be causing death blows.
sure, I get you,
Yeah.
but you're gonna be getting 1 attack instead of 3, and it's gonna take you multiple rounds to get into position. Which, by the way, I'm also
Not
gonna work on that
necessarily.
as well.
I do I
I'm
do get I think at level 7 I have 3 per 2 with my greatsword. So
right, but your backstab is only 1 attack
right, but then I get a normal two-handed sword attack if I break
on
stealth.
So you can backstab and kill one and then not be able to reach the other one?
No, I could backstab and fail, do a shitload of damage and fail to kill the target, and then hit him again later in the round with the same
Okay,
sword. That's not a
got it.
backstab.
So what if I got you an item made that gave you improved invisibility?
Then I could backstab every round,
Yes. So I think
even if
I'm
I
gonna work
fail.
on, yeah, I think I'm gonna work on that and get you an improved invisibility item to go
You guys
along
have a
with it.
great night. Talk to you.
All right,
Have a good one.
Zanwar. I'm just coming up with ways to improve party output because my character is pretty much at the max for its capabilities,
Yeah,
damage and healing and everything like that. It's just based off levels now.
yeah,
Yeah.
But for the party, it's about getting them items to help them deal more damage faster. Because if I don't have to heal you because you killed the enemy, then that lets me do other things.
yeah.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
All
Good
right,
night.
Zanwar, take care. So yeah,
But yeah, that's
that's stuff that I'll look for.
I created this character with options in mind. The bow obviously is for mooks, and the sword is for big bad guy, the BBEGs, if they're large sized.
Right, but
Uh,
we ran into some BBEGs where you couldn't backstab, like the Beholder um and things
that's
like the
Right.
pretty
weird
rare.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then
Monsters
your
that
bow
don't
comes
have a
into play.
back are pretty rare. So
Yeah, and then the bow comes into play, which is why I want to buff your bow too, because I think
yeah,
your bow.
that's actually ranged weapons is how you kill beholders. By the way, you pick the perfect monster for range weapons.
That's
Because
great.
you want to be at range when you attack them, because otherwise they could come up to you and bite you. And you also want to be keep everyone clumped together so that they only have 45 degrees of vision rather than 50 or 75. Because
I don't know about
they get
clumping together on a Beholder because of the anti-magic cone that it has coming out of the center eye. Like,
it only goes out to 45 feet first of all, and second, it when you clump together at range, you're guaranteed only to cause it to have 45 degrees of vision, which is what you want. You never ever surround a beholder, because then it starts using more eyes. If you have everyone in a 45-degree cone from the monster, they can only use, it's like one d4 eyes. 1d4 eyes. If you have 50% of the monster covered, like someone in front of them and someone behind them, then they get 2d4 eye stalks. And then if they're three quarters surrounded, then it's like 2d6 eye stalks or something like that. And if they're 100% surrounded, they get to use all of their eyes, all 10.
so surrounding a Beholder is bad. I got it,
Bad.
but
Yes.
I don't think being inside the cone in the front is good. I know you said it only goes so far out, but it's going to move in on us. It's not going to sit at range.
They're slow as fuck. They only move at 3. So moving in on
Oh,
us,
so you can outdistance them pretty easy.
very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you want to be 45 feet or more from them so they can't reach you with the anti magic. You want to be within 45 degrees of vision of them. And you want to hit them, from a distance with spells, or if you're actually within the anti magic, then just shoot them with whatever you got: bows, guns, crossbows, darts, whatever.
Hey guys.
All right. Take care, Zerenia. So yeah, so I was just letting you know what I plan on doing with like my funds.
All right.
My character only needs one more item
Yeah.
to be complete, and it's a gem, and the gem gives me +2 intelligence and +2 wisdom. And if I wear the intelligence, sorry, if I wear it for I think a month, the intelligence is permanent and the wisdom is temporary. If I lose it, then the wisdom goes away, but the intelligence stays.
Oh,
So my
good
character is getting
trade-off.
ready to transfer. Once it hits level 11, it'll transfer from being a druid to a mage.
Oh,
A
you're
mage
gonna
who's
dual class.
Yeah, I'm a
Nice.
human, but I'm not gonna be a mage trained by Renia. I don't like the whole apprentice thing. I'd rather be in a mage trained by someone else in a school or something like that.
Yeah.
And have like an affiliation with the school instead of a hedge wizard or something. So, but once I apprentice to the mage, I'm still not gonna be like doing lots of damage until probably level 6 as a mage, 5 as a mage,
Yeah.
but that'll take a while. But so what I was thinking is I noticed that in a lot of the fights, it takes you a while to get in position. So I was trying to brainstorm and come up with ways to fix that. And my first thing was a item
Invisibility.
that gives
Yeah.
you improved invisibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Not just normal invisibility. I want to give you improved invisibility.
yeah. I don't
Um,
know if there are any DMG
so
magic items like that, but you can make custom ones.
yes, it's going to be a custom magic item that was going to be made just for your character, and it's not just going to have improved invisibility on it. It's also going to have the ability to activate silence. And I also wanted to have the ability to give you stone skin.
Mm.
So you'll
Wow,
get one
that's
ability to stack Sconestone and Silence, and then improved invisibility. And then if Mark runs it the same way he runs it in his other campaign,
yeah,
it's going to cost
a
a
lot.
thousand gold pieces. No, 1,000 gold pieces per spell level. So since improved invisibility is level 7, that's 7,000.
Oh,
And Stone Skin is level 4, so that's 4,000.
yeah,
And then the Silence 15-foot radius is level 2, so that's 2,000. So you're looking at 13,000 plus 9,000 for the permanency, and then plus the cost of crafting on the item itself. So
yeah,
you're looking at about 10,000 gold pieces for an item that gives you three amazing stats, right?
yeah.
So
We're also gonna have to go adventuring for
the
probably the
material.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
and maybe some of the spells too.
Like once we get set up where you have a keep and stuff like that, and we have a home base to go
Yeah,
back to,
yeah.
kicking out from there. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to do, this is another thing that I thought would be really fun, would be to give you a on top of all those things in one item. One more spell that I wanted was either teleport without air or normal teleport, and I want to do it to where you can do it.
Once per day or
Um,
something.
no, right now I have that on my character right now. Is
Mm.
a teleport without air item, and it gives me twice. In At first, Mark didn't put a limit on it, and then he realized that not putting a limit on it was um, overpowered, so he limited me to twice a day. So,
Oh,
could you imagine in a battlefield if you know you didn't have to teleport anywhere else for the rest of the day, and you're fighting a monster that you could teleport behind, you could backstab one with improved invisibility and teleport behind another one, right? And then and backstab that one as well.
yeah. Well, the thing is, when you're using spell-like abilities from magic items, it
It
takes
takes
a
your turn.
round to do that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, that's
But
cool.
it's better than walking, super slow speed and maybe failing your stealth check or whatever.
Well, I have
Well,
boots of elven kind. So when I
well,
do move silently, I move at 12.
actually that won't matter anymore because, like I said, you'll have the improved invisibility and the silence, so they can't hear or see you.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then, um, so improved invisibility, silence, and fly. I think instead of teleportation, I might just put give you fly on one of the items as well.
The
So
only
now you
thing
can fly around and not leave any footprints.
the only thing I don't like about improved invisibility is I'm pretty sure I would stay invisible if I were injured.
That's only invisibility. No, so I'm gonna have it to where it's an activatable thing and not something that when you put on your constantly improved invisibility.
Mm.
I want to have it to where you can activate it like at the beginning of like the turn, just like stealth. Like I'm gonna go stealth, but now you activate the improved invisibility and you're already flying because the flying will be constant. And
Flying?
yeah, I want to put flying on the item. I
Oh,
said
okay.
instead of teleport, I wanted to put flying. So now you don't leave any tracks on the ground. You're silent and you're invisible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that I think will save you a lot of time because you won't have to worry about uh the okay, I'm moving at half speed because I'm doing this or I need to go over here and stealth. It's I can stealth where I'm at, not stealth, but I can invisible where I'm at and then get to where I'm going because of fly because of the I think it's what 30 move. So 300 move is what you can do. And then you can get further is what I'm getting at. So, and then improved invisibility lets you backstab every round
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
because with that 10% chance, I don't know
Well,
what your move silently is, but with
there is one thing about invisibility that's not as good as stealth, and that is if you're fighting creatures that have 10 hit dice or more and 13 intelligence or more, they get a saving throw to be able to detect invisible creatures.
yep. And
So,
when your character figures out like gains knowledge of what creatures to use stealth on versus invisibility,
yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to decide, hey, we're fighting a very intelligent dragon. Let me use stealth instead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like your character isn't dumb and your character has already has knowledge of a lot of other monsters at its face. So it
Yeah.
can use that knowledge to like gauge this is this and this is that. One more thing I think I want to throw on there is actually it won't matter because backstab doesn't matter for undead creatures. I was gonna throw on there invisibility to undead too, which is only a level 2
Yeah.
spell, so but it only works against non-intelligent undead, so whatever.
Right.
But so
Sounds
like
pretty good.
yeah,
It's
like I
pretty
said, I've been
far
thinking
down
of
the
ways
road.
to. I don't think it's as far as you think, um, and I say that because the yes, the custom item is far down the road, yeah,
Yeah.
but like getting you like girdles and getting you strength bows and things like that, I think that's relatively easy to do.
Strength bow, yeah,
Um,
because you just have a strength bow made and then have it enchanted to +1, +2, +3, or whatever you want.
mhm.
The giant strength thing, we're probably gonna have to collect giant parts.
And I'm all for that, by the way.
So
I
there's
actually
that.
think that we can handle giants now better than we could a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Wait, you're a fighter, right?
Yeah, fighter
You're a
thief.
fighter
Fighter thief.
thief.
Yeah.
What is your constitution?
Not very good. I'm um I rolled
Yeah, but what is the
extremely.
scores?
They're bad. I rolled um well on 2 stats, and the rest of them are horrible. And I'm sure you can imagine which 2, I put good numbers in. Obviously, I'm a fighter thief, duh. So, but I could use, some more strength, and I could use some more dex. Those are always something that, because
So,
I'd get better thief skills out of the dex and better AC, and then do better damage with strength. So,
so something you said earlier was actually really important. You said at a certain level, it doesn't matter what your AC is anymore. You're going to get hit, so you need the hit points.
yeah.
Mark runs it to where if you're a fighter anything, you get the +4 for con bonus on both the fighter and the alternate one too.
When you are
So
multi-classed?
yeah, when you're multi-classed.
Yeah, of
So
course,
I'm
yeah.
so
But you divide
since
by
you're a
2
fighter
still.
thief, sure, you divide by 2, but it doesn't matter if you divide by 2. You're an 8 fighter and an 8 thief. You have more thief obviously, but you're an 8 fighter, so for 8 levels you'll get 4 constitution, so that's
It'd be an
32
extra
more hit
32 more.
points.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
If I had,
so
what's that, 19 con gives you plus
18
4? 18?
18 con.
Yeah.
hmm
I'm going to
So
need a lot of con.
how many is a lot if you don't mind me asking?
Wishes upon wishes upon
No,
wishes.
not wishes. It won't take wishes. I have another route that I did on my other character and Mark
Okay.
allowed it.
Let me put it this way. I'm going to need at least 1 wish, and then whatever magical items you're thinking of.
Why one wish?
because when you wish for a higher stat with a wish, it
Yeah.
automatically brings you up to 16. No matter what your stat is, you could have a 3 intelligence. If you wish to become smarter, it brings you up to 16. Boom! Or no, I'm sorry. No, that's not true. It's one wish per stat. So
Yes, one wish per stat
I'm gonna
up
need a
to
bunch
16.
up to 16. So let
And
me
then
put it this way.
16 to 17 is 10.
I'm gonna need
And then 17 to 18 is
I'm
another
gonna
10.
need a bunch of wishes. Okay?
But
And then
wishes
whatever
aren't the way
event
to
that is.
go. But wishes aren't the way to go. Ion stones are the way to go because ion stones, you only need one per stat increase. So if you want to go from 16 to
True,
17 with
yeah.
the wishes, it takes 10 wishes,
I
but
don't
one ion stone.
I'm not sure if the Ion stones stack though. Like
They do.
two intelligence Ion stones.
Yes, they do.
I don't
They
think
all.
they stack.
Mark said,
Hmm.
this is his verdict on it. He
Yeah.
said that if it doesn't specifically stay on the item, then it stacks because there are ion stones that in there it says specifically that these don't stack or these can stack, but there are ion stones in there that don't say either or. So
Yeah.
he said if it doesn't specifically say it doesn't, then you can.
Yeah.
But the problem with ion stones is they have an AC of 5,
Yep.
right? So while yeah, I can get
Uh
you
no.
say 6 ion stones.
They have an AC of -4.
Whoa, really? Or is
Yeah.
it 5 hit points?
10 hit points.
10 hit points? Okay. So I was in a
And
campaign
they save as
where
hard metal.
the DM gave us here is your starting experience. You can make any character you want. Enjoy. Here's your starting experience for using the DMG to buy magic items.
Yeah.
So what I did was is I bought ion stones.
Yeah.
And I bought some other items too. I got my AC down to -10. I got my hit points and stuff like that. He gave us a really, it was supposed to be like a semi-epic. Like we were like level 13 plus. Um, and the DM was like, all right, you're surrounded. And I was playing a Blade Singer. And I'm like, okay, I'm surrounded, no problem. And he's like, yep. And instead of targeting you, they're gonna target your ion stones. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? So he
Uh,
starts breaking my ion stones.
and your stats start
Like
dropping.
no, they weren't even stats. Like I had ion stones of spell absorption, ion stones of
Ooh.
this. Because XP wise, ion stones are super cheap, right? So
Yeah.
when the DM saw that I was getting a bunch of ion stones, he's like, "Okay, cool. I'm just gonna destroy all your ion
Break your
stones."
Ion
That's what
stones,
he,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, wait. Instead of attacking me, the threat, they're attacking my ion stones, and they're like, "Yeah, they attacked you one round, realized they couldn't hit you, and now they're going after your ion stones." And I'm like.
Hmm.
They attacked me one round and they couldn't hit me. How do they realize they can't hit me? They just might have rolled bad. And they don't know that they rolled bad because no one can see their rolls because they're actual character. Because like that's metagaming, right? Like you're metagaming as a DM versus your players. Okay, whatever. So I had to spend a round to
Ooh.
deactivate my ion stones and put them away and then fight. But he had destroyed like a few of my ion stones and I was like super upset because they
Yeah.
had like a ring of ions, a ring of spell, sorry, not a ring, but a ion stone of spell storing. I had
Yeah.
like heal. I had heal in my frickin' ion stone.
Right.
So like I was gonna walk into battle, do a bunch of damage, take a bunch of damage, and then heal on top of it and be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But nope. I was facing these bodybuilders that were trained in like ninjutsu or some stupid MMA martial arts,
Yeah.
and they had 18 double out strength, and every single one of these minions had 18 double out strength, and I'm like, okay, and they're like, yep. So every time they hit, they're just destroying one ion stone, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
Th-
Well, at
uh,
least you're getting fuckloads of experience points for killing them.
Nope, that was the thing. If we killed them, we got negative experience because they were brainwashed villagers.
What?
And since we knew they were brainwashed villagers going into it, we couldn't use deadly force.
Negative experience. Really?
Yep. So after someone killed one, the DM's like, "Okay, how much experience do you have over your level?" And then they told him they said, "All right, you lost a level because you killed someone knowing that they were a villager who's been possessed or who's been brainwashed by this person." So
Wow.
we had to use non-lethal damage while fighting and while fighting the brainwashed people, but like we
No.
fought a gargantuan what is it? The Manicore, a gargantuan Manicore, and
Yeah.
it was three fighters who were hasted, and we were like level 16, so we all had like a bazillion attacks in turn, and we killed it in one round. And he's just
Yeah.
like,
Of course. Yeah.
yeah,
Most of the time
yeah,
you do.
okay,
Most of the time,
yep,
player characters are so deadly that they will kill the BBEG in one round if the BBEG has no mooks. If they're
yep.
alone, yeah. There's the only thing that's big enough and bad enough to face an entire party of PCs is the Tarask. Dragons can't do it. You know, greater mummies can't do it. Liches can't do it unless you make them
So,
maximum level. They're gonna be dead after one round.
so I was fighting in another campaign with another DM, and he had us facing it was a earth type of dragon.
Uh
It
huh.
was a mix. It was a mix between two different dragons. It was like a sand dragon and a ground dragon, or two different ground type colors, and they were mixed. It was considered a like an
Earth
outcast, and
elemental
it
dragon.
n-
So.
n- I'd have to look up the exact color, but it was considered an outcast, and it couldn't have kids or anything else like that because it was considered like a um like a donkey
Yeah.
or whatever, or whatever one is the one that's sterile.
Yeah.
So
A hybrid.
uh, yeah, it was a hybrid. So it couldn't have so it was a mix between a brown and a yellow is what it was a mix between.
Huh.
So he mixed it, and he had us fight it outside of its lair in the open. So it was flying, right? And it was a caster, obviously,
Right.
and it had a specialty spell of stone skin. And since stone skin was also a transmutation specialist anyway, so it's stone skin. It had when it cast stone skin, it lasted for 32 attacks
Uh.
because of the way he had the dragon specialized and had the spell as a specialized spell. So
I
so it
wow.
was
I
like
would
it was
never
like
allow
this.
that. Even I mean, even if you don't limit the casting level of spells depending on what level spell they are, um, a level maximum hit dice for dragons. Most dragons is probably let's see, 24. I think golds and reds have 24 hit dice, right? That's the highest dragon, right? 24 hit dice.
Okay.
And because it's 2 hit dice per age group. So 12 age groups, 24 hit dice. Um so they they they're supposed to cast spells at a lower level than their hit dice. Most DMs forget about that. So even if you cast it at 24th level, and you get the full benefit for Stone Skin at 24th level, it's D3 charges plus it's like one charge per 3 levels after one up to 24th level. So at level, if you were to cast it as a level 1 caster, like if you if your level was debuffed somehow, but you still had it memorized, and you were casting it as a level 1 caster, you'd get 1d3 plus 1 charges. And
So
if you
the
were debuffed to level 4, it would be like 1d3 plus 2.
So
So up
with
to 20.
something that you said, with
Yeah.
something that you said though,
Uh
he
huh.
he realizes as a DM, and that's that a party can go in and just destroy monsters. So
Yeah.
what he did to all his monsters is, if you're facing a
Buff them
minotaur,
like the
it's not
party
just a
does.
minotaur. It's not just a minotaur, it's a minotaur fighter. So it has fighter levels on top of the minotaur levels. So if you're facing a caster type shaman, it's
Yeah.
not just let's say it's a troll shaman. It's not just a troll, it also has shaman levels on top of it.
Okay.
So the dragons are the same. It's not just a dragon, it has wizard levels on top of it or
Right.
cleric levels on top of it. And titans, like he has titans in the game that we've had to fight,
That's
and
awesome.
we've normally run
That's
we
what's
we
up.
normally run away from
Yeah.
because the titans like I'm a 20th level fighter, I'm a 20th level mage, I'm a 20th level cleric, and what are you going to do to me? And we're like, wait, so you have what? And he's like, yeah, I have a Thakova fighter level 20, I have Saves of a wizard level 20, I have buffs as a cleric level 20. Like, what are you going to do? And then they can specialize on top of it.
Yeah.
So he realizes that yes, the monsters in the DMG are extremely weak to a party.
Yeah.
And since this dragon didn't have any mooks with him, right?
Right.
The dragon was just the dragon fighting a party, right? Now, give you a little background on the party. We're not very high level. My character is a eleventh
Are you above
level.
10? Okay, yeah, above 10.
Yeah,
That's good.
I'm 11th level
So
fighter.
this is
I'm
tier
I'm
2
I'm a
play, by the way. Tier 2.
So yeah, I'm 11th level fighter and 13th level wizard. I'm playing a Shalaran, which is like a human of the sea, because we're all sea creatures, and we're
Ah.
fighting in the desert against a dragon in the air, and we're sea creatures, right? And we have these big fins. Imagine fighting in snorkeling gear with like those big flippers, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what a Shalaran has on their feet. So um the I'm also a grandmaster fighter, specialized and everything else like that, all the way up to grandmaster level. He after he saw what I could do as a grandmaster, he took it out of the game. He said, "Okay, no other PCs can be grandmasters. You're the last one." And
What?
because okay, bracers of blinding strike and haste. Do you know how many attacks I get?
Uh, I don't even know what braces of blinding strike are.
Bracers of blinding strike double the number of attacks that you get per round.
So that's
Haste
haste. That's
doubles the
haste
number,
already.
and it stacks with haste because there's not the same spell. One's an item and one's a spell.
He could have
So
just said that doesn't stack with haste and fixed the problem.
no,
That's kind
the
of weak.
item doesn't say it doesn't stack with haste.
I wouldn't let it stack with haste. But yeah,
Why? If it doesn't say so on the item. So anyway,
I mean, because
like
I
he
would be
but
the DM, but
but no, for me to get the item,
he
no, for
fucking
me to get
just
the item.
removed an ability of fighters from the game rather than saying that doesn't stack with haste. What?
So for me
What?
to get the item,
Yeah.
bracers of blinding strike,
Yeah.
I had to kill a warrior who had them and was hasted. Like it's
Oh,
not that
okay.
I
So
just went out
the
and got the
DM,
item.
the DM fucking stacked haste with the bracers, so now you can forever.
Because
Yep.
we were able to kill the fighter and I got the item.
Yeah.
See, his whole rule is
Yeah.
what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah.
He's like, if you
If
guys
I do
want,
it,
you
you
guys
can
can
do it.
have
Yeah.
Yep, if you guys want, you guys can have all 18s for all your stats. But remember, everybody you fight from now on can have 18s for all their stats too.
Yeah.
And then we're all like, "Oh God." So literally, the DM is 100% fair across the board. He's like, okay, you guys want to have this, then they have this,
I wouldn't
and then it's like,
say
what the?
removing Grandmastery from the game is fair.
Well, Mark doesn't even allow mastery in the
Well, I
game.
know, but that's because he doesn't use that whole book. Period. The whole series of books.
Oh no,
Period.
no, 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 not true. He uses a series of books. He just picks and chooses. He doesn't
Oh,
use any of the
yeah.
fighter stuff. He
Yeah.
uses the specializations. He
Right.
uses the
Well, at
spells. He
least
uses that
nobody,
stuff.
at least nobody has it, rather than some people do and some people don't.
So right, right. So
So
the
that's
DM
what
that
makes it not fair, I guess.
the DM that I'm talking about, he's like the goose. What's good for the goose is good for the gander because at first everybody had the option of going grandmaster
Yeah.
and priest. He let any other class besides fighter go expert. Right? You can be a sorry, not expert. You can be a master. Right? You can master in one weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what
So
breaks games right there.
sure, but once he realized how powerful grandmaster was.
Yeah.
Like being an underwater creature and fighting underwater, I don't even get the full benefit of being a grandmaster. One of the things that you do as a grandmaster is when you hit something, you have the ability to knock them down. How do you knock something down that's swimming?
Oh, because he was using knockdown rules.
No, that's in the grandmaster write-up. It is in the write-up as you have a D6 chance
Yeah.
of
Well,
like it's 2 out of 6
knockdown
to
rules
to
are
knock somebody
optional,
down.
Knockdown rules are optional. You can use Grandmastery and not use knockdown at all.
Sure, if you want to, but then you're taking away trip attacks from like people who wanted to be a grandmaster and a frickin' as a chain fighter or whatever, right?
No, because there's a pull trip maneuver, and that's different. That's not knockdown dice.
So he allowed it in the beginning for everybody. He had these rules because we were going to be playing in an epic level campaign. That was
Yeah,
the goal, was to
yeah.
get us there.
And
And
they
then when
took it
he saw
away,
me
which
pull
is
out,
not fair. That
no,
sucks.
no, he didn't take it away. He realized that me having like 24 attacks in a round is stupid, is what he said. So,
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Like, it was crazy. So, in this fight against this dragon, right?
It was pretty stupid of
Yes,
him to let the bracers stack with haste, I think.
no, that's not
Yeah.
stupid. That's the way the rules are written. Like,
No, not necessarily. There's
it
ways
is.
around that.
How
So
is there ways around reading the rules and saying, okay, the
as
item says this and the spell says this, and they
as the
don't say they
DM
don't stack.
as the DM, you could say, well, the whole function of this magic item is haste, period, and then just not allow you to have the effects of haste stack with it, because you
But
can't
it's
stack haste with
not
haste.
haste. But it's not
Well,
haste.
that's if the DM says it is haste, then it is. And he could have just, said that, but he used it against you first. So
Because
he made
haste
his
is
bed and laid in it.
no, because haste isn't just haste. It isn't just doubling your this and that. It gives you bonuses to AC. It gives you
Yeah.
increased movement and
Movement.
things
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
So that's haste. Where the
Yeah.
bracers of blinding strike, all it does is double like
Right. So
instead of having
the
like
number of
it's also
attacks
AC
aspect of
4,
haste. So he
but
could say, well, haste gives you the rest of haste, but doesn't quadruple your attacks. He could
so
have.
the bracers of blinding
He
strike
just
give you AC 4.
he fucked himself first by making his bed and then he laid in it. So
No,
yeah,
even if
that's he
even
broke his
if
own
I were to
campaign.
go even in Mark's campaign
Uh
right
huh.
now, if I bring in Braces of Blinding Strike and
Yeah.
I activate haste and he says no, I'm going to argue like why? And he said because it's haste. I'm like, where in the item description does it say haste? It doesn't. It doesn't even remotely say it. It says 3 times per day can you activate this item to get double your attacks.
Uh huh. And haste might be the spell that is used in creating the item.
There's
He
nothing
could
that
say that.
says that it is.
That's DM. That's GM fiat. It doesn't have to say.
I get where you're coming from that you can, as a GM, you have the ability to limit it.
Yeah.
But why are you going to start limiting certain items when, like I said, across the board, if
Because
it's okay
you
for the
can
NPCs to use,
you
it's
can
okay for the PCs to use.
obviously break a game if you have a fighter that has 4 melee attacks per round, doubled to 8, and then quadrupled to 16 attacks. That's gonna be game breaking no matter what. I mean, there's no monster that's gonna be able to stand up to a grandmaster with 16 attacks. It's not
But
gonna happen.
what you're
It'll
not
break the whole
understanding
game.
is just because I have the, because I'm mean that I'm not going to face something that can't counter it, right? Like I've had to face stupid ass monks with belts of anti magic
Yeah.
and with the same fighter. So they activate the anti magic, they run in and they grapple me, and all of a sudden my character is useless, and I'm like, oh damn. And yeah, like
Even with 16
or
attacks, you're useless.
well, you got to remember it doesn't matter if it's anti magic because then they get on me and then I don't have 16 attacks. All that the haste is gone,
Yeah.
the bracers of blinding strike is gone. I lose the AC from the bracers of blinding strike, which is a
Yeah.
4, so my AC gets through. All my magical items that I have to protect me, my stone skin is gone. All of it's gone. One item, like there's a way around everything. He doesn't just say, "Oops, I gave this to the party. Now I'm screwed."
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like, okay, cool. The party has that now. Not a problem.
Mm-mm.
And then
Here's an
we face
anti-magic field.
dragons.
Yeah.
Well, we face dragons, and the dragon isn't dumb.
Yeah.
The dragon's like, I'm flying, and your party has to get to the ability to fly. So that gives me 1 round to do my breath weapon, and it was like 12d8 damage or something stupid like that for the
The
breath
breath
weapon.
weapon. Yeah.
A- And then it's like,
That's
okay, got
only.
it.
I think that's only a age 6 dragon. If it has 12 dice, because
It must
you
have
get
been
2 dice
more.
per age category,
It must have been more because it was doing like
unless it's a
if you
small
didn't
dragon.
save, if you didn't save, it was doing I think like almost 100 points of damage if you didn't save.
Yeah, that's pretty
And we
common.
had someone so oh, he also runs haste differently in his campaign. It doesn't age you by 1 year. That's not how he runs haste. He runs haste
I thought
where
it was
you have
2.
to make a system shock roll, and if you fail the system shock roll, you fall over dead.
Okay, whatever.
Like that was the house rule. He at the beginning of the campaign, he said, "This is how we can run a couple different spells. What do you want to do? Do you want to run it by the book, or do you want to run it by the house rule?" And the first one was haste. Do you want to do age 1 year,
Okay.
or do you want to do the system shock? And then the other one was stone skin, which is do you want to do it every attack or every actual hit? Because according to the spell write up
It's
from the
every
book, it
attack,
says
yeah,
it
including
blocks an attack
spells.
and not a
Yeah,
hit. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that. They go with the it has to hit you kind of function, right?
yeah. Some
So
people do. In my campaign, I actually require a dice roll because of some players of mine a few years back complained like, well, what if they rolled a 1 and miss you completely? And I was like, you know what? That's kind of a good point. Like that should have been in the errata for Stone Skin in the DM option high level campaigns. So what I do every time there is an attack against a player that has stone or a player controlled character that has Stone Skin is I roll a d20, and if it comes up as a 1, then obviously that counts as uh, a fumble, so they don't get the rest of their attacks after that 1, and then it doesn't take away a charge of their Stone Skin. That's a house rule that I made probably 10 years ago. So not everyone
sure.
does stuff like that, but that was
hmm
because of a
So
player complained. It was I thought it was a pretty valid point. So I do that for both monsters and players.
So that's your take on House Rule for Stone Skin. His
Yeah,
take on House Rule for Stone Skin is it's stupid. Attack being dumb because you could have a bunch of level 1 peons swinging at a level 20 fighter with a negative 10 AC, and the level 1 peons are just getting attacks in, and as long as they don't roll ones, they're taking away Stone Skins.
yeah,
It's dumb. It's just a way to whittle down the resources of somebody who's stronger, which doesn't make sense. So he gave us the option of a bunch of different spells on how we want to do it, and he gave us the option of how we want to face monsters. He says, "Do you want to face monsters the way the book has them, or do you want to face monsters that are actually a challenge?" And the whole thing can be a challenge. And we all voted for challenge. That's why dragons have they're not just they can't they're not just casting at like level 4 spells only. They're able to be a 20th level caster if they're old enough, like on top of their dragon stuff. So
yeah,
like we wanted a pretty epic campaign when we started, and we've had some pretty crazy things that have gone on in the thing, and it's been really fun. Like
yeah,
crazy swings back and forth where we did X, and because we did X, the ramifications of X was the only way that we could have survived. Like if we had done the normal route and the normal traversing of the situation,
yeah.
then we would have died because we
You had to think
followed the
outside.
normal route.
Yeah,
So
that's good. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have challenging encounters that are harrowing. They get your heart pumping. They get you afraid of death, and they're more rewarding that way because the treasure and the experience points are that much sweeter after you actually win, and a couple of your comrades don't make it.
one of the things that is common in that campaign, the one that I've been talking about with the dragon that I was going to get back to,
Hmm.
is we have one person who has went through in 10 years has went through I'd say 6 different characters because they keep dying.
Yeah,
And then they would fail their system shock roll and not be able to be rezzed, or resurrection roll or
resurrection
whatever it is to
survival.
be able to
Yeah,
be rezzed, and then they
yeah,
fail that too and they can't res them.
from a crappy
So it's
consteller.
like say, yeah, basically they have crappy con.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, stop doing dumb things. Like their first person that they played was a bard, right? And the bard was a greedy player. It had a greedy characteristic and everything like that. And
Neutral evil
she
bard.
ran in and tried to loot something and wasn't paying attention to her surroundings and just wanted to loot off the body before the party could get it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was destroyed. She got killed because of it. Um, and everybody was
Yeah.
like, "Well, should we bring her back?" She was kind of trying to like loot the body, and we're like, "Yeah, okay, we'll try to bring her back." And then she had like a 12 con, and
Yeah.
she blew her save, so she died.
You can still use a wish after a failed resurrection or raised dead,
Yep,
and wish is
you can,
100%.
but no one
100%.
in the party has access to wish, and to the DM plays it that if you want someone to cast wish on you, you have to first roll to see if it's even possible to find anyone willing to do it because of the tax that it takes on the actual wizard.
Yeah.
Then two, you roll to figure out what alignment that wizard is. And three, you have to agree to do the favor of whatever the wizard is that is offering. And you don't know his alignment. You have no clue. It could be a chaotic evil or lawful evil or whatever, and
Yeah.
they may be like, "All right, I want you to go out there and kill this lawful good thing. This is what we agreed on. This is
Yeah.
the price."
Kill
And
this
you'd have to
entire
go and do
order
it.
of paladins.
Yep. Yep. And you'd have to go and try and do it. And it's like, well, like I've had wish cast on my character.
You know what though?
Um,
You know what though? If you're playing a good character and you try to contract a wizard to, cast wish on you, and he says, "Okay, go kill this entire order of paladins," then you and your buddies come up with a plan to kill the wizard and take his spell books, because his spell books contain the wish spell, right? Or they might. If he was telling the truth about having the spell, somewhere in one of his spell books is going to be the wish spell. And then you
so
can.
you're telling me that in whatever campaign that you've ran in, killing a wizard with the wish spell is easy? Like if you're asking someone to grant a wish on you, that person's not going to show
Did
up
I
and be
say
like,
it was
"Okay,
easy?
these are my stipulations. I
Did I?
want you to go out and kill this order of knights." And
I didn't. I never did. I say easy. The word easy didn't come out of my mouth.
the way you worded it is like you and your friends are gonna try to kill the wizard and take his stuff. Like
Yeah.
he's in
At
at
least
least the
18th
level
level.
18.
If
Level 18.
unless he lied. If he was telling the truth, he's at least 18th level.
hmm
Which, depending on what spells he has memorized at the time you attack him, what contingency spells, what magic items, and what servants he has in the area, he could be easier or harder to defeat.
So
So it all depends.
the
A whole party against one wizard with no mooks. It's a pretty easy thing unless you cast wish during the fight. I think what's the speed of wish? 1. Isn't
the
it 1?
way that I think that I think you're viewing wizards at that level to be simple compared to what they actually are. And I'm not trying to, and it's casting time is special. Like for Wish, it doesn't have a set time. Um the one that I think that they would go with like 100% of the time if they're going to be confronted by anybody is either teleport, especially if they're not on guard. It's going to be teleport because the casting time is 1, right? And sorry, casting time for teleport is 2. I'm wrong. But like the way, okay, if I'm a wizard and I'm coming into a situation to where I know I'm evil and I'm going to be asking possibly good people to do something for me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to meet that person with his party. I'm going to request to meet that person by themselves. And if they don't agree, then they don't get the wish spell or they don't even get the option to hear what their request is. So now
Hey,
you're meeting the person
if
alone.
if you can't use your imagination to come up with a way to kill a wizard, you're only limiting yourself.
No, you're right.
Wizards are not impossible to kill, especially
No,
for an entire party of PCs.
you're absolutely right. But by you saying that me and my party are gonna think of a way to kill the wizard, just like you're thinking of a way to kill the wizard is thinking of a way to kill you.
Yep,
Because
possibly,
if they
possibly.
offer you a deal, say, all right, you do this one request for me, and I'll grant your wish on top of the cash and everything else that you have to give me. Um, then we'll call it square, and this is what I want you to do. And if you say no, as a evil wizard, I will immediately be on alert,
Did
and
I
I'll be
say you had
like,
to say
right when I
no?
hear you say no.
I never said you had to say no. I never said
Okay,
that.
so if you said
You could
yes,
say okay and then go back to your friends and be like, "Hey, let's kill this guy. He fucking is evil as shit. Let's kill him. Come up with a plan to kill him. Hey, maybe you pass, maybe you fail. It's all in the dice rolls and initiative and all that. It's not fucking impossible to kill a high-level mage.
so I will tell you that if a high level mage uses their intelligence correctly, and if they're meeting anybody at all, they're coming prepared, right? They're not just gonna come with
Possibly,
themselves
possibly, yeah.
or no contingency or anything like that. Like a wizard of high enough level is gonna know how
How
to
as a
get
DM,
themselves out.
how do you determine whether or not they have the contingency spell?
Well, contingency is what level?
4 or 5. So now we're talking about just basically GM
It's
field
a
stuff
sixth level
now.
spell. It's a sixth level spell. So
So how do you determine whether or not the wizard has the contingency spell?
you could roll for that character's spell book before the meeting even
Yep.
takes place.
Hmm.
And if he doesn't have contingency, fine. But if he doesn't, then what wizard that reaches level 18 wouldn't want to go and try to
Prepare.
get that spell?
They're to try to get that spell.
There's what?
So you're saying that no matter what, the wizard is going to have the contingency spell?
No, I'm saying that. Okay, first off, it's an evocation spell. So anyone who's like what is it? Transmutation? No, not transmutation. What's the one that's opposite of evocation? It's
Um,
I
illusion?
can't remember. But anyway, the opposite school. So if they're a specialist and they don't even have that
I
and
think it's
they're
illusion.
you're right, it is illusion. So
I
if
can't.
they're a specialist in illusion, right, then they can't have contingency anyway. So
Hmm.
got it, not a problem.
Well, we're talking about a
Um,
mage. We're talking about a mage, anyways. So
okay, so if they're a straight mage with no specialty, if I am a wizard, if I'm playing a wizard, I will, and I'm a mage, and the first thing I'm going to want to do is get a 19 intelligence, right? I've never met a wizard that doesn't want more
well, wait, no, no, no,
intelligence.
no, no, okay.
Once you hit
No,
19,
no, no, no,
anything
no, no,
above 19
no, no, no,
is,
no, no, no. We're talking about an NPC wizard, okay? When you make
yeah.
NPC wizards, you roll their stats, you roll their magic items, and you roll their spells, right? If they don't have magic items enough to get them 19 intelligence, they just don't have it.
So you're you're
It's
you're rolling
you're
an
you're
NPC wizard of
you're
18th
thinking
level.
you're thinking of an NPC that you have made turned into your player character as a DM, and that's
No,
not what NPCs are about.
n-
They
no, no. What
you
what what
you
you're
give them
what
a
you're
class,
mistaken
you give them a
is
class and a
you're
race.
gonna roll an 18th level wizard's
You
magic
take
items and
what you roll and you prepare it with what you get.
no. What you're misunderstanding is I can understand that for like a level 5 wizard or like a level even up to like maybe a level 10
It
wizard.
level is irrelevant. It's how you
No,
roll up
it isn't.
NPCs. Yes, it is.
Level no,
Otherwise,
level is not intelligent. Irrelevant.
you're essentially making an NPC your player character, which I
No.
mean, giving him extra spells, you better give him give the players extra experience points if you're gonna do that.
Sure.
Because
If you
because
if
then
you if you can kill, in
because
my
then
opinion, if
that
you can kill a
becomes
wizard,
what
if you can kill a wizard that's level 18, if you
uh-huh.
can kill a wizard that's level 18, then you're going to get everything that it has.
Yeah.
Like I said, what's good for the goose is
Possibly
good for the gander.
possibly if you can find
Sure.
everything it has.
If you can find it. Yes, if you can find it. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's how I take every encounter every time. And I
Uh-huh.
say that because an 18th level anything, fighter, wizard, thief, you're not going to go and meet an 18th level thief. He's going to have someone who's like his second go and meet you, or his third, or his fourth. You're not going to ever find the leader of the thieves guild and talk to them directly unless you've proven yourself, right? So a level 18 wizard
No,
coming to
that
meet
that
somebody
depends
to
on a lot of
cast
stuff.
wish. So you can say it depends on a lot of stuff, but I'm playing the character intelligently like a real life person would. Like if I'm
Like a
in
player
charge
character,
of
and that's what's wrong.
no,
You're
every
supposed to
character that
create.
you run into,
You're
even it
supposed to.
doesn't matter.
You're supposed to
It,
create NPCs randomly, and work off of what you roll up for them. There's an entire NPC party generator, and there's also PC gener or a NPC generator in the monsters manual. Now,
so
granted, at 18th level, the wizard that you're rolling up is going to have a lot of magical items and stuff. Yeah, of course. But you need to work off of what you randomly roll. I mean, otherwise, it's it's basically a specially designed character that is basically your player character.
I would never think an
And
18th level
you better
wizard.
give extra XP for that.
No, I would
Yeah.
never think an 18th level wizard, in my opinion, is not a randomly generated character in any world setting.
Oh, it
Because to
is.
get to level 18, to
Every
get to
time in my
level
world. Every time.
no, the
NPCs are
reason why I
randomly
say no
generated.
the reason why I say no for the reason why
Every
I say
time.
no for mages, the reason why I say for no for mages is because mages, wizards,
So
whatever,
so you're
specialists.
saying mages only, not any other class.
No, no, no. Like with thieves too. Like thieves are not going to be played as someone stupid. Like I'm a
No,
leader
of
of a
course
thieves
not.
guild and I'm going to
You would
go
never
meet
play
this
a character
person.
stupid. Why would you ever do unless they had a low intelligence score? Why would you ever do that? Of course not.
Sure, if they have low intelligence
You
score, but
just
a
don't give
wizard,
them extra shit that they're not supposed to have.
I'm not giving a wizard extra shit they're not supposed to have. So okay,
If you
and
don't roll up the contingency spell, he shouldn't have it.
if you don't roll up the contingency spell, he shouldn't have it. Doesn't make sense because
Yes, it
okay,
does.
would
Because
you expect a level 18th wizard? Would
for
you
exactly
expect
one reason. If they do pass and kill him, then your players get the contingency spell.
so? I will agree that he shouldn't have the
Everything you
contingency
give
spell
him, your players can
on one
get.
condition.
And
On one condition, he shouldn't have the
that's the whole
contingencies.
that's the whole reason why your DM has destroyed his own game, because he gave
No,
NPCs and monsters extra shit that they shouldn't have, and now the PCs have it.
I don't think the DM that I'm talking about has ever destroyed his game. As a matter of fact, his game is one of the most difficult games that I play in. All these other campaigns and stuff that I play in are nowhere near as difficult as that campaign. And it's not just because he is broadening the scope and not sticking to the confines that you keep talking about over and over. He's broadening the scope and allowing them to be more than what they are. Like you keep saying a randomly generated 18th level wizard can only have what it has rolled up, which is garbage because you're not taking in the fact that it has its own keep. You're not taking in the fact that it has its own damn library and it can study and research on its own, and it's probably
Randomly,
been doing it for years.
yeah.
You're not taking into the
There's
fact
no way
that only
to say
way
that 18th level wizard that's randomly rolled wouldn't have his own tower. Of course, he would have his own tower.
he would not just have his own tower, he'd have his own library, and then he can
Yeah,
do his own research on the
every
contingency
wizard
spell and
every
pick up the
wizard
contingency spell.
every wizard has their own library.
Not true. Like I
Yes,
said, up a wizard up to
totally
level
true.
10 doesn't have his own
Somewhere.
library.
Yes. Yeah.
Show me a
Your
wizard up
your
to level
very
10.
your very first magic book is the beginning of your library. Every wizard
That's
has
not a
library.
library that does research.
I'm not
You're
talking about a research
misunderstanding.
library. I'm not talking
You
about it.
are because
That's
a
no, I'm not.
spell book is not a library. You can't
have to
even say
go.
it's the
You have to
beginning
go
of a
on it.
library.
You have to go on adventures to start getting library books.
No, you
So
don't.
yes, you do.
You can
Yeah,
easily
you
purchase
can.
them.
Yeah. Well, okay. What NPC is going to sell a library
There's
book to a
entire there's
level
entire
a
mageocracy in
level one
Mark's world.
a level 1 player character that has how much money?
Like I
I don't
said,
think so.
you like exactly
I don't
like
think
I
so.
said, you will not find a player character or an NPC who has a library as
Are
a mage until at least around level 10. And
bullshit. It
then
all
and
depends on your very first adventure or your second adventure. Your first adventure could be into a mage's tower. You could
Sure. If
defeat
your
the
first
mage at the
adventure is
end.
into Mage's
You
Tower
could
and you can kill him,
yeah.
if you
You
at
could
you're at level
and you
one,
could
if you're telling me at level one you can go into Mage's
who
Tower,
who
a
said
mage who owns a tower.
who said you would be level 1 by the time you face the mage? This is a
No, you
tower.
said your
It's a
first. You
dungeon.
said your first
It's a
adventure.
dungeon. You could be level 10 by the time you face the mage.
You're going into a Mage's Tower at level one and expecting to survive.
You could
What
come out of level
mage
10.
puts?
You could
No,
come out of level 10. Yes.
if you
It
make a
all
Mage's
depends on the
Tower,
adventure.
if you make a Mage's
You're
Tower,
limiting your
no, you're
imagination by
limiting.
saying that.
You're limiting because
You
you're
can
sitting
go
here
into
saying that this
a
mage doesn't
dungeon.
have the ability to guard his tower properly. Like if I make
That's
a
not
mage's
true.
tower,
That's not
yes,
true.
you are. You
No, I'm
saying a
not.
level one? You're saying
No, I'm not.
your exact words were,
Nope.
if your first adventure is into a mage's tower, meaning
Mhm.
you're level one.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you can, as a level one character, first off, break into a mage's tower and
When
survive
when did I use
all
the
the
word break
magical
in?
shit.
When did I use
It
the
doesn't
word
matter.
break
It doesn't
in?
matter if it's break in. If you're going
It-
into Mage's Tower to
So
fight
you're
to
saying
get to the mage or
you're
whatever.
saying every little dungeon that has some kind of wizard in it is gonna have contingency spells at the entrance.
Never did I say that. I didn't say that.
Are you
I
saying
said that
that?
a mage with a, I said a mage with a tower is going to have proper defenses set up to where a level one party
How do you
should never
know they
even be able
are?
to get
How do you
through.
know they are going to? How do you know
Because
they are going to?
any
How many?
intelligent
Tell me how
you,
many.
you're going
How
to let
many?
me answer the question, or you're just going to keep
Hold on.
interrupting.
One more question. How many published adventures? Okay, have a mage tower for level 1, where you start off at level 1, and you finally face off against the mage at a higher level than level 1. There are
There's
any number of published adventures.
just because there's
Just
published
because it's
events.
an
No, hold
adventure
on.
that
Let
you
me
would
answer
make
your question.
doesn't
Let me
mean
answer
that
the
it's not an
question
adventure
before
that
you
someone
keep
else
talking.
would make.
Let me answer the question before you keep talking. So first off,
Go ahead.
just because it's a published adventure, just because it's a published anything, doesn't make it a good campaign or a good thing to run. Doesn't
Why
even
does
make
it
it
have to-
logical.
Why does it
Hold on,
have to be
hold
a
on.
good
Let me
campaign or something to
answer.
run?
Let me answer. Let me get to the end of my statement
Go
before
ahead.
before
Go
you
right
interrupt.
ahead.
So it doesn't make it a good adventure, and it doesn't make it a logical adventure, right? So if it doesn't make it a logical adventure or a good adventure, then why the hell are you
That's
going to use it as a comparison? Let
that's
me finish.
subjective.
Let me
That's
finish.
subjective.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
So it doesn't make it illogical and it doesn't make it effective. So why would you want to play that campaign if it's not logical? Like, okay, first off,
Because it's
if you're
fun.
walking into a dungeon,
Because it's fun.
let's say what's Temple of Elemental Evil, and you're walking into this Temple of Elemental Evil dungeon, and you're in the damn dungeon,
Uh-huh.
right? But you're fighting monsters, and these monsters hear you fighting because damn sure if you're in a house and you hear someone fighting, or you're down a hall, or you're in a school, you can hear people fighting. Like there's going to be sounds.
There's
Yet
a
they're
role
staying
for
in their
that.
room because you haven't come out and you haven't attacked.
Have you read
that
the
doesn't
Dungeon
make
Master's
sense.
Guide? There's a role for that.
Sure, there's a role for everything,
Yeah.
but there's also damn common sense. Like if you're in a room and you hear combat right outside your room in the hallway, there's definitely a role for metal on metal, but you rolled bad and you don't hear
Well,
it. That's
That's
crap.
a little too realistic then, because it's a game.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's fucking role playing. It's supposed to be realistic.
No, it's
It's
not.
not supposed to be.
It's a game.
How is it not? It's fantasy realism, right? And the
It
fantasy
has-
part is with the
okay.
magic.
How is it
And
not?
sure, there's luck.
Because it has
But if you're okay,
dice.
so you're telling me
Yeah.
that if you're sitting outside of a door, outside of a room, and you're battling the guards that are guarding this room, the person inside doesn't hear a thing.
It's possible they could be plugging their ears and humming at the time. That's what the dice roll is for.
No, that's stupid. See,
No,
see,
that's
as soon as
dice.
soon as soon
That's
as
a
you
mechanic
say
that's in the
as
game.
soon as you say stupid shit like that, I know that you limit that you try to err towards whatever the book says, and that's not what
No, what the
fantasy is
dice
about. That's
say.
not what role play is about.
That's
You just said
no
that's what the
towards the
you
dice,
came up with a
not the
dumb
book.
excuse like ear fingers and ears and humming like
Yes.
there's a you're in your castle, you're in your tower, you're in your room, you're whatever, and you have guards stationed outside, but you're in your room humming so you don't hear anything.
You could be
Like
asleep. You could be unconscious. Maybe you tripped getting out of your bed and knocked yourself the fuck out. Who knows?
so let me get this right.
That's what the dice roll is for.
You're saying that you could be asleep or unconscious. Let me put this another way. Um I live in a
I just
house
gave you any number of reasons why to use the dice
and
roll.
every single one of them
And
are
you
bad, and I'm going to
still
prove to you why.
bad. It uses the mechanic that's in the game. It's a
It
game
uses the mechanic that's in the game that is
If you
supposed to
don't
be
like
there
the
for
mechanic,
certain
you
reasons.
don't like the game. It's obvious.
No,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like the game.
Yeah.
I enjoy the game, but I like semi-realism instead of stupid answers of, "Oh, the character is in there."
Too much
So
realism
if
will
it's in the
destroy
middle
a
of the
game.
day,
That's how you lose
if it's in the middle of the
players.
day and say again?
That's how you lose players. Too much realism.
No,
People
it's
wanna
not how
play
you
a game.
like.
Some
You
people
lose
do.
players because they get bored of the same stuff. Like we go in, we fight the monsters, we loot the bodies, and we leave. That's boring because there's no story, there's no challenge, there's no anything that goes into it.
Yeah.
If you roll up a wizard, right, and you roll bad, do you really think a wizard is going to make it to 18th level if he rolls shit for everything? No. Like
Yeah.
wizards have a certain
Wizards have bad luck too.
progressive.
Wizards have
Sure,
bad luck too.
they won't make it to level 18 if they have bad luck. That's what I'm getting at. Like
A wizard that's
wizards,
randomly rolled that has shit for spells and magic items has made it to level 18 and has had bad luck.
you won't make it to level 18 is what I'm getting at as a wizard if you have bad luck. Like
So
wizards,
you're telling me that if you have no magic items at level 18, you would never make the 18th level wizard. Is that what
I
you're
am
telling
telling
me?
you, I am telling
'Cause
you
that's
that
bad
in
luck
a
having no magic
for
items.
first off, are we in a high magic item settings or low magic item setting or moderate magic item setting?
Randomly
That
generated
does play a
magic
question.
items. Randomly generated magic items.
So you're saying that randomly generated magic items,
Like,
that
by
puts
the
it at
book.
a high tier. That puts it at a high tier, mind you. So a high tier,
That's
and
subjective.
and
That's
you roll as
subjective.
an 18th, you roll as an 18th level wizard, and
And
you
come
get
up with
no
nothing?
magic
It's
items.
possible.
No,
Yeah, it is.
that is beyond stupid because
No.
that means you don't
Do
have
you-
a tower.
do you
That means
even-
you don't even have a damn
No.
spell book because your
That's
spell
not what
book
that means.
is magical.
You can have a tower and not have magic items.
How are you going to have a
towers-
tower if you
Towers
don't have
cost
magic
money,
items?
not magic items. Towers cost
Sure,
money.
towers
not
cost
magic
money to have built, but I've never met a mage that didn't build their own tower.
items. When's the last time you read the Dungeon Master's Guide? I'm really surprised that you don't know these.
I don't
things.
have to read the Dungeon Master Guide to know like
You don't
common
have to
sense,
read
like
the Dungeon Master's Guide.
to know common sense. Like common
Whoa,
sense is
wait,
if
have
you're a
you ever-
mage.
Tell me, have you ever read the Dungeon Master's Guide?
Yes, I have,
How
but you
long
don't need to
ago?
read it.
How long ago?
Let me see, front to back, a while, but bits and
Well,
pieces,
well, wait, what's a
large
while?
chapters.
Yeah.
I read large chapters very often,
Like,
and
when's the last
you
time?
don't get common sense. You don't get common
Oh,
sense from
this
the Dungeon
conversation's
Master Guide.
over. Wow.